I'm Austin Monteith, and on this week's Bulldog Blitz, we will take a look at the upcoming women's basketball season.
And I'm Kyle Beery, and we'll also bring you stories on last week's Big East tip-off party and blue-white men's basketball scrimmage.
But first, after starting off hot, the Butler men's soccer team has hit a cold spell, losing its last 3 conference games. With just 2 games left in the regular season, the Dogs know they have to refocus as a team and get back on the same page.
After starting off hot, the Butler men's soccer team has hit a cold spell, losing its last 3 conference games. And with just 2 games left in the regular season, the Dogs know they have to refocus as a team and get back on the same page.
We just got to come together as a team again. So I think kind of strayed away from that a little bit, kind of got a little complacent on what we've been doing a little bit. So I think it's just back to basics.
It's really just getting the team together as one. You know, it's getting the team to kind of, work around one mindset. And I think that mindset right now for us, for lack of a better word, is desperation.
The lack of togetherness has hurt the Butler offense, getting outscored 8-3 in their last 3 matches. To make the tournament, the Dogs realize they must be sharper and more unified up front.
We're creating a decent bit, and then the final pass or the final touch just isn't quite there right now. So we just need to find that extra bit of magic in the final third.
We're playing a little too direct right now. We're not combining. We're not finding our midfield as much as we need to. And I think when we do that, when we have done that in the past, it's really opened up the defense a lot.
We've seen throughout the year that we can play with anyone and beat anyone really. So we know if we come into that game with the right mentality, we'll be fine and take care of the 3 points.
Despite losing 3 straight games, the Bulldogs are still in a position to control their own destiny and make the conference tournament. But that all starts by getting a win on Saturday at Providence. Reporting for the Bulldog Blitz, I'm Matt Schumacher.
The men's soccer team plays its final regular season game on November 8th against Xavier at the Butler Bowl. The Bulldogs currently sit in 6th place in the Big East standings. Only the top 6 teams in the Big East qualify for the conference tournament.
Meanwhile, the Butler women's soccer team is 1 game away from beginning postseason play. The Bulldogs play their regular season finale at Marquette this weekend before the Big East tournament begins next week. The team earned a 1-0 overtime win at Creighton last Saturday. Senior Katie Griswold scored the game-winning goal in the 95th minute. The Butler women's basketball team is preparing for its first exhibition game this Sunday at 2 p.m. against DePauw University in Hinkle Fieldhouse. This year's roster brings 2 Bulldogs with international playing experience. JoJo Gentry has the story.
The Butler women's basketball team will hit the floor with 5 newcomers this season, but 2 of the newcomers are here with international experience. Zoe Reachman of Israel and Ijeoma Ushendu of Nigeria. Head coach Beth Kuchar says their athletic abilities fill vacant roles in the roster.
We learned about IJ is through the junior college ranks. We went to the national tournament figuring we might need a athletic 3 player, and she should come in and help us right away. I mean, she's one of the best athletes I'll ever coach. I think she has the ability to play at the next level.
They don't make you miss home. It's rare. I've been to 2 colleges and I felt so different, like so much comfortable in Butler. It's so unreal. Like I hardly miss home.
Freshman Zoe Reachman of Israel says she's been playing basketball for just 5 years before beginning her college career.
As far as Zoe's concerned, we do talk to an international guy that let us know about Zoe and that she would be available and was looking to come to the States.
What made me choose Butler in the end is that it's a small college, and I liked it because I think it's more personal.
Both of them have adjusted really well from where they've been at, and so with Zoe being a freshman, she's getting acclimated just like all the other freshmen, and she's adapting well. IJ, on the other hand, she's been in college, so she knows what the speed and all that's like.
In Israel, we play everything slower and weaker. And also the difference for me is that here I'm not the tallest person.
And Zoe's very popular in Switzer and in the dorm and has a lot of friends, so I feel like they're really getting acclimated, and both of them tell me on a daily basis how much they love Butler.
And my teammates, these guys are wonderful. So I'm so excited to play with them. They work really hard every day. They push you so hard.
The Bulldogs will play their first exhibition game against DePauw University at home on November 3rd. For the Bulldog Blitz, I'm JoJo Gentry.
The Butler women's cross-country team traveled to Kenosha, Wisconsin on Saturday to compete in the Big East Championship. The team is currently ranked 7th in the nation. The Bulldogs have won 4 straight team conference championships, including 3 Horizon League titles and 1 Atlantic 10 title.
Butler's men's cross-country team is also headed to the Big East Championship in Wisconsin. The Bulldogs finished first at a meet at the same course at Wisconsin Parkside in September. The men will look to win their 16th straight conference championship, dating back to the team's time in the Horizon League and Atlantic 10.
The Butler volleyball team hosts Marquette this Friday after picking up a pair of road wins over Seton Hall and St. John's last weekend. The Bulldogs currently own a record of 18-5 this season and are 5-3 in the Big East. Junior middle blocker Erica Stahl earned Big East Player of the Week honors for recording 2 double-doubles in the victories. Butler head coach Sharon Clark says pulling off such a feat is rare for someone at her position.
You know, we had a lot of individual performances that were great, but Erica Stahl really did a phenomenal job for us blocking, and she had a double-double in both matches with double-digit kills and double-digit blocks, and that's really hard to do as a middle.
The Butler men's basketball team is nearly a week away from its first regular season game. I took a look at last Friday's Big East tip-off party that featured a scrimmage game to help prepare the team for the new season. For the first time in 4 years, the Butler men's basketball team held the blue-white scrimmage game to showcase the Bulldogs before the season gets underway. This year it was a part of the Big East tip-off show that aired on Fox Sports 1 Friday night. All 10 Big East teams got a 15-minute slot in the 2-hour show showing part of their scrimmage. Aside from the scrimmage, festivities included fan contests, the pep band, cheerleaders, and dance team. Posters were available for fans, and they were able to get them signed by all the Bulldogs after the scrimmage. Associate Athletic Director Mike Freeman says it was a good way to show the Big East and the rest of the country what Butler basketball is all about.
It's a great opportunity for Butler to be a part of the Big East tip-off party in the Big East, really, because it's kind of a made-for-TV event, like when we had College Game Day. Get the crowd up at different times, do some different interviews, get across, what we're all about going into the season.
Included in the show was reaction from new head coach Brandon Miller. Miller said the team chemistry they've built and what they displayed on Friday night will be a big part of the season.
We constantly talk about, us getting better as a process. That doesn't happen overnight, and that happens throughout the summer, throughout the season, and if you do it right, you can get better at that.
Butler's own Eric Esterline helped produce the Butler segment of the show and says the show is a part of the process of rising in prominence.
Butler's had quite a rise in the last 2 years, from the Horizon League to the Atlantic 10 and then to now the Big East, and they've had the contract now with Fox Sports, and it's a whole new ball game with a lot of different things, and the blue-white scrimmage is something that we haven't seen before, and actually to have it part of it televised at the national level is something that is really good for the exposure for the university and for the basketball team as well.
With the scrimmage over, the Bulldogs have 2 exhibition games before opening the regular season on November 9th against Lamar.
Not only is it the beginning of a new season, but the beginning of a new era for Butler basketball. For the Bulldog Blitz, I'm Kyle Beery.
As a part of Fox Sports 1's Big East tip-off party, Butler basketball fans got a sneak peek of their team with the blue-white scrimmage game held on Friday night. While the Bulldogs didn't disappoint, it was the freshmen that stole the show.
As a part of Fox Sports 1's Big East tip-off, Butler fans got a sneak peek of their team this week with the blue-white scrimmage game held on Friday night. And while the Bulldogs didn't disappoint, it was the freshmen who stole the show.
Our freshmen at certain times throughout practice have all played well. And they've shown why they're here at Butler. They've shown their strengths. The thing that we keep talking to our freshmen about is the consistency of showing up every day and doing it every night.
Elijah Brown, a 6'4" freshman from California, led the Bulldogs with 19 points.
Elijah is an offensive player. I mean, he can put the ball in the basket. What you saw tonight, especially early, he came out with a ton of energy. He was obviously ready to play. He made a couple tough shots early, which got him going, but he's a guy that can put the ball in the basket.
The other freshman guard, Renee Castro, had a buzzer-beater 3 to end the half. Castro finished the game with 9 points. Nolan Berry, the 6'10" freshman from St. Louis, went 3 for 4 from behind the arc. The other freshman big man, Andrew Schrabis, had 11 points down low. The Butler offense looked very sharp, with highlight plays from Kyle Marshall.
In terms of our players, I thought our guys played hard. I thought our guys came out and competed. On the offensive end of the floor, we did some very nice things. I thought we executed. On the defensive side of the ball, I think we're going to get back in the film room. We're going to make some corrections and go from there.
Over 3,000 fans attended the game, and the coaches and the athletic department praised the Dog Pound and the crowd for their involvement. For the Bulldog Blitz, I'm Ari Castle.
The Butler women's swimming team is coming off a 5th-place finish out of 7 teams at the Indiana Intercollegiate meet at Purdue last weekend. The Boilermakers won the meet with a score of 7:15.5. Freshman Claire Butkus was Butler's top swimmer, finishing 2nd in the 100-yard freestyle and 12th in the 200-yard freestyle. Thank you for joining us on this week's Bulldog Blitz. I'm Kyle Beery.
And I'm Austin Monteith. We'll see you next time, Bulldog fans.
This is the Bulldog Blitz scoreboard. I'm Courtney West. The Butler men's basketball team will host DePaul in its final preseason game this Saturday in Hinkle. The game begins at 2 p.m. The women's volleyball team is coming off 2 big wins last week to square off against Marquette this Friday and DePaul this Saturday. Both games are in Hinkle at 7. After a loss to San Diego last weekend, the Butler football team looks to bounce back as they travel to play against Dayton this Saturday. The Dogs will look to break their 4-way tie with Dayton, San Diego, and Marist for first place in the PFL standings. In one of their last regular season games, the men's soccer team will look for a win when they travel to play Providence this Saturday. The team currently holds a 3-4 record in the Big East. The women's soccer team will end their regular season play in a road match with Marquette on Saturday. Big East tournament play for the Dogs will begin November 5th. Last but certainly not least, the Butler cross-country team will head to Wisconsin on Saturday to compete in the Big East Championships. For the Bulldog Blitz, I'm Courtney West.
Welcome into another edition of the Bulldog Blitz. I'm your host, Matt Schumacher. So far this fall, Butler athletics teams have had tremendous success across the board, but perhaps no team has had more success this season than the 7th-ranked women's cross-country team. And joining me here today in the studio are All-American Katie Clark and sophomore standout Olivia Pratt. Ladies, thank you for joining me today.
You're welcome. Yeah.
7th ranked in the country, that's the highest any women's cross-country team has been ranked in Butler history. Talk a little bit about that with me and just kind of, what that means to the program.
Well, I think the highest the women's team's ever been ranked at Butler before is 18th in 2005. So to have gone from that to 7th, the whole top 10 thing is a bit of a thing to be proud of, I would say. And we were nowhere near as good as this when I came as a freshman. So to have seen it progress the way it has, I'm really proud to be a part of it.
Absolutely. And Olivia, you are only a sophomore, so obviously just a year and a little bit under your belt. But talk a little bit about coming in and right away the team is already 7th in the country in just your 2nd year. Talk about coming into a team that's so strong right off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, it's really exciting, and it definitely puts in perspective having so many older girls on the team because you can see how far they've come, like how far the team has come in recent years. And I don't know, it's just pretty incredible. Like I know I'm just personally so much stronger than I was, even a year ago. And as a team, like even than a year ago, we've improved so much. Just like, I don't know, it's really wonderful.
I just want to touch on something real quick. You talk about your personal growth from last year to this year, but you came in as a freshman and were immediately a big contributor for the team. Talk a little bit about how you've been able to come in and so early on in your career have a big part in the team's success.
Yeah, I mean, like, it was really exhilarating last year to come in and know that I had an important spot on the team and know that, like, I had to perform well, but also that I could perform well and perform well enough to help the team do well.
And, talk a little bit about the transition from running in high school to running in college now for you.
Well, I felt like running in high school, a lot of it was very self-motivated. You know, I was always the first runner on my team, and I didn't really have anyone to look up to running-wise. And so I came in and I had, like, you know, a person who became an All-American, Chrissy Legg's an All-American, right? Just so many, like, really competitive girls are so strong that I was just, like, just chasing after all the time.
Yeah, and you talk about having multiple All-Americans on the team and just other standout athletes as well. And Katie, you know just as well as anybody that individual success is important, but cross country is also a team sport. Talk a little bit about that and just the depth that you guys have on the team this year.
Yeah, just compared to this time last year. Last year was great because I had a personal breakthrough, but this year it's so much better and so much more enjoyable doing it with a team as strong as this to take you through and to be there with you the whole time.
Definitely. And now you, coming back to the individual side of things, you were 3rd overall recently at the pre-national meet. Talk a little bit about that performance and just how your season is going so far for you.
I think coming out 3rd as a team, that was the best. Well, not the best. It could have been 1st, but it was one of the best things we could have asked for, is coming out and performing so well that it gave us national recognition. Because I mean, we were ranked going in, but it was a frustrating rank because we knew we were so much better than that. So it's finally good to get it down on paper how good we can be.
Absolutely. And Olivia, can you talk to me a little bit about just the progression of this season and how you guys have been able to continually, week in and week out, beat teams that have been in the top 10?
Yeah, I mean, I remember coming into the first workout of the season, we ran a tempo, like a workout with, you know, like 5 girls, us 5 scorers all together. And that's something that we would not have been able to do last year. And it's just that we are all so much closer to each other in fitness that we're able to run together all the time. We don't have to split up very often. And when it comes to races, it's really evident. Because, you know, for almost the entire race, I can see nearly all of my teammates around me. And it helps me race so much more knowing that my teammates are
You're not just in it for
really
yourself.
solid. Yeah.
So that has had definitely a big part in why you guys have been so successful this season, would you say? Now, you guys are one of 3 teams who are ranked in the top 10 nationally in the Big East Conference.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about just the strength of this conference on the distance side of things.
Whew, it's not what we're used to. We're not going to walk in and dominate this thing like we did the A10 or the Horizon League, but we just see it as a new challenge that we're going to embrace. It just gives us another opportunity to race really good teams, get a really good one under our belt, and we're the underdog, which is a nice change going into a conference. So, yeah, we're excited about that.
Yeah. It's really exciting. I mean, when I was in high school, like Georgetown, Villanova, and Providence were the ones where you see those teams and you're just like, oh my gosh, it's them. And the fact that I'm in that conference now, which is not something I expected coming to Butler because we're in the A10, and that we can actually compete with them, it's just really thrilling.
Yeah, definitely. And before we start talking a little bit more about conference and pre-nationals, national meet, etc., let's talk a little bit just about the team aspect of cross country, because I feel like, you know, a lot of our viewers don't really understand the team dynamic of cross country, because running is perceived as more of an individual sport, but there really is, you know, a team effort involved.
Yep, absolutely. Just taking the pre-nats as an example, I was behind Mara for maybe the first 3K, and then a bit of a gap opened up. And it wasn't just me thinking, I need to go and get that lead group. It was me thinking, I need to get next to Mara and see if we can both push through to this lead group. You're thinking about everybody else on your team, and then when you cross the line, you're looking behind over your shoulder to see where your teammates are coming in. You're not just running for yourself. You'd run through a wall for any one of the girls on your team.
Yeah, and Olivia, can you talk a little bit just briefly about sort of how the point system works throughout the season and how that affects the national qualifier?
Yeah, okay, well, it's kind of complicated, sort of, but like within a race, you know, it's like, you want me to talk about how people score points? Yeah. I mean, within a race, we have like, you know, a varsity team of 7 usually, and then 5 people score. So like your place determines your score. So if you placed first, you get 1 point.
Right.
And so whoever has the lowest score wins. And so that means that, like, really when it comes down to it, like, the fifth person can be as deciding a factor as the first person.
Sure.
Because of how many points they score. And then qualifying for nationals, do you want to, like, help me out on that one?
That's it's complicated because you
It's
don't
not,
know who's going.
Yeah,
for sure
it's
until
not
the regional
just
meet.
dominated by who gets first or second at regionals.
Right.
You know, if you get first or second at regionals, you're going. But for instance, last year out of the Great Lakes regional, we had 5 teams going because it also depends on who you've beaten in prior meets.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Complicated. The point system is very complicated, but what's not complicated is that you guys are ranked second right now in the Great Lakes region, putting you guys in a terrific position for the regional meet and to qualify for nationals as a team. So just talk a little bit about that and sort of, you know, the confidence that gives you guys going into the postseason.
Yeah, I mean we're not talking about this season like, oh yeah, conference then regionals and maybe nationals. It's very much conference, regionals, and then nationals because we're so much better than we were last year, and we made it last year. There's no reason why we shouldn't make it this year.
Yeah.
You feel the same way, Olivia?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you can never look at this ranking and say, oh, second in the region, we're going. You know, you don't want to get comfortable, but it is reassuring, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So nationals is still a little bit ways away here. Conference is this coming weekend, and as we've already discussed, it's a very tough conference, top to bottom, especially the top 3 teams, which you guys are included in. You're going for 3 conference championships in 3 different conferences over the last 3 seasons, a lot of threes. Can we expect a Big East championship this year?
Oh, I really hope so.
I mean,
yeah.
Expectations are one thing. Georgetown and Providence are very, very good, but they're not out of reach. Very, very good. Like, they're not that good. We're also good, so.
That you are. What do you have to do to get the win?
We've got to have a pretty strong day.
Yeah.
Hope that everything goes right. If everybody runs to their potential, we're just as much in it as anybody else.
Yeah.
Individually, how do you guys prepare yourselves mentally for such a tough weekend?
Turn your nerves into excitement. I'd say that's a pretty good way of handling it.
Yeah.
Prepare. I don't know. How do you prepare?
Yeah, I've had to learn to, like, stay a bit calmer, really, because in high school, it's a shorter race. And it's more aggressive. You have to, like, I have had to learn to go into a race and not, like, just sprint my heart out, you know?
Controlled.
Yeah. I don't know, not to, like, let it, I don't know, I just have to learn not to go overboard when I race.
Yeah.
Well, I'd say that you've done a pretty good job of keeping yourself in check so far this season. Same with Katie. That wraps up this edition of the Bulldog Blitz. I'm your host, Matt Schumacher. We wish the women's cross country team the best of luck this weekend. Thanks for watching.